Hi, I'm Scott Wagner. I'm the writer of The Liberal's Guide to Conservatives, and I wanted to talk to you today about the holidays, about how to handle the holidays given political tensions. I'm actually here in Columbus, Georgia, visiting with some relatives, and we've had a wonderful time. We've used one of three options that I'm going to talk about now, and it's the easy one, and that's the middle one. But let's talk about the hard one first. There are three different ways to handle situations with politics with our family. The first one is just cut politics off at the knees. You don't talk about politics. And this sounds like such a cop-out to a lot of people, but it is not a cop-out at all. Politics is much less important than relationships. And there are people out there in many of your families who are rude or who are just get really, really excited all of a sudden about things and manage to hurt feelings. And there are other people that are kind of the opposite, that are just really, really nice, really, really sensitive, and that get themselves hurt really easily about things. And in all those situations, it's really best to just sort of gloss over politics and move on. And if you have to, you can just say something explicitly to the crew and just kind of say, hey, we're not talking about politics. Our relationships are much more important and much bigger than politics, and we want to focus on the things that we love about each other. If you do that, if you're clear like that, make sure that you actually follow through. That those you disagree with, that you're really nice and really attentive to, and that you actually really do concentrate on the parts of them that have nothing to do with politics. So that's option one, not a cop-out. Not a cop-out, okay? Perfectly okay. Option two, probably the most common, is to emphasize the positive and emphasize those things that you have in common with people that you disagree with. Now, we have a huge advantage this year. Most people don't think about that, but I'm a liberal, and as liberals here right now, we have in Donald Trump's platform probably the conservative platform of many, many years that we have the most in common with, and we're anxious to ignore that in our hurry to sort of like talk about what a bad man he is and all the terrible things he's going to do. But let's talk about the commonality. Okay, he wants to get rid of trade agreements that we've been arguing and whining about for decades. He's really big on emphasizing infrastructure improvements. That's something that we really, really feel strongly about. He wants marijuana laws to be handled at the state level instead of at the federal level. You know, that's wonderful. He's really devoted to trying to get rid of corruption in government. Don't know if he'll succeed, but it's a good thing to be trying to do. And there are other things too. I don't want to go into all of them, but the point is you can have even a glossed over conversation just saying, hey, I hope he really succeeds with a lot of his platform because some of those things I'm really behind. Now that can be really powerful. And it can be a great way to just kind of get all the way through doing the dishes with somebody, you know, with a grand total of 11 seconds worth of political talk on the way to something important, you know, like who's going to dry or what the dressing is about, you know. And I don't mean to minimize politics, but you have to understand, you know, politics is down here, relationships are up here. That's the way it works, especially during holidays. Try not to forget that. So that's option two. Again, for most of us, that'll work, you know, light, not particularly heavy, not particularly intense conversations to get through. Option three. Option three is for families that are not going to get out of the business of talking politics. Guys were born political or whatever. It's just going to be the way it is, you know, and that's okay. But again, the relationship is king. And what that means is that you focus on feelings much more than you're used to doing when you do your ins and outs about the detail of politics. You make sure that you listen carefully, that you're attentive, that you don't interrupt, you know, you don't start out, bam, right out the door with politics, that you eat and you get to know each other again, you know, you catch up, and then you have this feeling where you're giving them the benefit of the doubt throughout the whole experience, and you're assuming that they're good, that their intentions are good in life, which is also really important. So if you focus on their feelings a lot, that can really get you through a lot of this difference that we have, especially this sort of acrimony that can come up. And then finally, you're explicit in this particular option. You're explicit about the relationship. Are we okay? Is there something that I've done that's offended you? Is there something that I could do that would offend you? You know, and maybe be able to share that with the other person. You know, and that's a good way to make sure that the relationship is king. It's not just about politics, because politics can often be used as an excuse to create divides. You know, 40 years from now, your Uncle Ed, God willing, is still going to be here, all right? And Trump's going to be in his frickin' grave, and we're going to have 3, you know, Democratic presidents after that, because that's the way it's going to go from here on out, in my opinion. You know, let's remember that. Let's be clear on the fact that politics is not where we live, not really, not in a deep-seated way that relationships are anyway, okay? So that's the 3 options. Don't talk at all. Emphasize the positive and kind of move on in a light way. And then 3, if you're gonna get deep dish about it, emphasize feelings, don't interrupt, you know, assume people are good, and emphasize, talk about the relationship explicitly. You know, if you do that stuff, you can have a great frickin' holiday, maybe the best holiday you've ever had, even with Donald Trump as president, okay? Thanks a lot for listening. Sorry about the noise. We got Sunday school going on here in Georgia. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.